After a pair of contests on the road against Big Ten opposition, the Bethune-Cookman men's basketball team returns to the east coast of Florida for the first of 4 home non-conference games in 2022. Tonight, the Wildcats battle the Florida National University Conquistadors of the NAIA on the hardwood for the first time in the history of these two programs. Live from Moore Gymnasium on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida, today's second broadcast of BCU basketball on the Cat Eye Network is on the air. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Tribello. Happy to have your company as we kick off this doubleheader action on the warm November evening. The Bethune-Cookman Wildcats enter tonight's game at 0-2 with losses at college basketball powerhouses Iowa and Indiana to open the season. The Wildcats are getting standout performances from returning players early on. Last year's team leader in assists, Marcus Garrett, leads the Wildcats in scoring through 2 games with 11.5 points, while big man Dylan Robertson is hauling down 4 rebounds per game. That's tops for the team. The newcomer making the biggest splash so far is Zion Harmon. The former 4-star recruit who transferred in from Western Kentucky is the only Wildcat other than Garrett scoring in double figures at 10.5 and leads the team in assists with 9. Notably absent from the top of the charts is SWAC preseason Offensive Player of the Year Joe French. The 3-point sharpshooter is just 1 of 7 from downtown to start the season, but expect the junior from Orlando to come out firing on all cylinders. Although the biggest miss for the Wildcats is who is not on the court, as Monmouth transfer Donovan Totally, who many predicted to be BCU's top scorer this year, will miss the entire 2022-2023 season with a ligament injury in his foot. Tonight also begins the home leg of year 2 under head coach / athletic director Reggie Theus. The former NBA veteran has had a full year to get situated at BCU and has brought in a strong recruiting class to bolster the talent. In Coach Theus' own words, quote, "Our expectation is to compete at the top of the conference. Last year I thought we competed with everybody and I don't expect anything different. We have more depth, more shooting, veterans coming back. We're all around a better basketball team." Hailing from Hialeah Gardens in the Miami area, Florida National University is a relatively recent addition to the college sports landscape, with their athletic programs beginning play in 2013. The Conquistadors sit 1-4 on the season with their lone win coming on the 8th of this month at Florida Memorial. They played last Friday in a 95-74 loss to Division I Florida International. They expect high-volume outside shooting from the Conquistadors, with 4 of their players having double-digit attempts from three-point range this season, with top scorer Jovan DeBrito, 15.8 points per game, leading the way with 30. Now we send it down to the floor to get you your starting lineups. starting lineups are on the floor. I'll run through them for you one more time. For Florida National, it's Ryan Sanchez, Gerardi Kublian, Jovan DeBrito, Matthew Robinson, and Gabriel Casillas. And for Bethune-Cookman, Marcus Garrett, Damani McIntyre, Kevin Davis, Dylan Robertson, and Joe French are their starting five. And looking at that starting five for VCU, you could be thinking, man, this is a team from last year with the same starting five that played for most of the season in 2021-2022. But the supporting cast is deeper. The supporting cast is better. It includes Zion Harmon. It includes the 7-foot-tall Elijah Holsey, a freshman. It includes a freshman, Lucas Gudavicius from Lithuania, who is very good. So even without Donovan Totley, this team should compete towards the top of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. But before we get there, we've got non-conference home action for you. And it begins against Florida National. It is Kubian and Robinson, and the big man from Alabama wins the tip, and we're underway. Wildcats in the home yellow, or gold as it were, with burgundy and white. KJ Davis gets the ball stripped away from him. Quickly into the front court, here's DeBrito. Expect the Conquistadors to throw a lot of three-point shots up there, as Damani McIntyre gets called for a reach-in early. McIntyre and Garrett were standouts defensively last year, and Marcus Garrett led the Wildcats in assists a season ago with 83 for the year. On the baseline, a jump shot from Kubian rolls out, and Marcus Garrett grabs the miss. Joe French, only 1 for 7 from three-point range to start the season for the preseason SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. He can let it fly at any time and hit from pretty much anywhere. KJ Davis with 12 to shoot. Robertson backing down his defender, goes skyhook style, gathers his own miss, kick out French, wide open for three, no good. And the rebound comes to DeBrito. DeBrito, a native of Miami, Florida, and played at Miami Palmetto High School and made the 9A state playoffs all 4 seasons at the high school level. Controlling the ball now is Ryan Sanchez, a sophomore again from Miami. Underneath it goes to Kubian. Quickly outside, and a three-pointer is good from Gabriel Casillas, native of San Juan, Puerto Rico, transferred from Indiana Southeast University. Puts the Conquistadors on the board first. If you remember, about a year ago, as Joe French spots up for three again and misses it long, and it goes over the backboard. About a year ago, the Wildcats played their first non-conference home game against the Johnson University Suns, another NAIA school from South Florida. And the Suns got off to a flying start. They led after about 6 or 7 minutes because they had a player whose name temporarily escapes me, had a real hot hand from three. So the Wildcats, against a team like Florida National who shoots, 25, 30 threes a game, got to be careful of getting jumped out on. DeBrito, the top scorer for the Conquistadors, hands the ball off. Underneath it goes to Sanchez, and he can't finish through traffic. Marcus Garrett, kick out to French. He's already tried 2 threes on the night and is 0 for 2. But the plan, I think, tonight is definitely to get French comfortable this season, because he has been very difficult to get shots against Indiana and Iowa. But that time, a tough finish underneath for Marcus Garrett, who has started this season on a flyer, averaging 11.5 points per game. Transfer from Morehead State 2 seasons ago. I mentioned already led the team in assists last year. Out of bounds off the referee. It'll stay with the Conquistadors. Gabriel Casillas wears number 50 for the black-clad Conquistadors of Florida National. I mentioned he's a native of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and played high school basketball in Virginia at Edison High School. That's close to where I went to college. Step back three, swish from Casillas. And 2 threes have gone down for the Conquistadors early, and they hold a 6-2 lead, the visitors from Hialeah. McIntyre off a screen, hands to Garrett. Garrett into a double team, finds KJ Davis, at times the Wildcats' most explosive player last year, but he gets it blocked by Casillas. Number 50 is everywhere early for the visitors. He gets the ball underneath on a nice little touch pass and throws it behind his head as he was getting clattered into by Robertson, and he will head to the free throw line. So a flying start for Florida National. Interesting injury note that I was told before the game. Aside from Donovan Totley, who's out for the season, who had a ligament injury in his foot and is having surgery, James Henderson was expected to be out for most of the season with an MCL tear. He had surgery on it preseason, but he is good to go tonight for limited action. Coach said he could play up to 10 minutes, so we could see the freshman from Miami in action tonight. And we probably will if the game does play out like we think it should, but right now the visitors are flipping the script up to 8-2 and almost had a takeaway as Davis's pass was tipped right to Garrett. Garrett has the only 2 points for the Wildcats so far. It gets poked away from him by Sanchez, and the Wildcats will keep the ball. Ryan Sanchez, a sophomore out of Mater Academy in South Florida. Wildcats will keep the ball again off an inbounds pass, and here is numero uno for the Wildcats, Zion Harmon. From Temple Hills, Maryland, he is a former 4-star and the #1 recruit in the state of Kentucky. He is the highest ranked recruited player out of high school to ever suit up for Bethune-Cookman University. He's second on the team in scoring, he's #1 on the team in assists, and he is on the floor right now. Garrett to Davis, posting up, finds Harmon in the corner. His three-pointer is too strong off the boards, and Casillas grabs a miss that was tipped by Davis. Here is Kubian, shooting from outside. French gets up to grab the miss. Marcus Garrett drives. Gets inside, puts up a tough shot, won't go. Donovan on the rebound, and Dylan Robertson puts it in. Excuse me, I called him Donovan. That was Dylan Robertson. He got injured last year with about a month left in the season and really left the Wildcats with no pure center. We saw KJ Davis playing the 5 for long stretches at the end of conference play, but the Wildcats are so happy to have Dylan Robertson back and playing this year. He is their centerpiece in the middle. They go to him to find inside-out motion for Joe French on the outside, to set up mid-range jump shots. The whole offense plays through him. He is very important for this Bethune-Cookman lineup. Make sure you are representing Bethune-Cookman University athletics to the fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the Bethune-Cookman online store. They go to bcuathletics.com, then click on Shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's bcuathletics.com and click on Shop. The Wildcats have played 2 games already this season against Blue Bloods in Iowa and Indiana, and they kept it close with both of those teams through the first media timeout. Ended up losing to Iowa 89-58 and Indiana 101-49. And now at home this week against Florida National, and then on Wednesday we'll be in the house against Trinity Baptist College, and hopefully some momentum-building games for Bethune-Cookman. But right now they are down 8-4 as the Conquistadors of Florida National have come out firing. And both Wildcat basketball teams have almost been homeless the early part of this season because of the back-to-back hurricanes that we have had, and they haven't been able, campus was closed, they haven't been able to practice in more gymnasiums. So Coach Reggie Theus said, well, I have an idea. I've got some contacts. Let me call some people I know. And they were able to practice at the Orlando Magic training facility, a beautiful Advent Health sports complex in downtown Orlando. And Coach said, I'm paraphrasing here, it was great for the team to see what the environment is like at the next level. Here's Joe French, spins away from his defender, goes high off the glass, can't finish. Robertson gets up and can't grab the miss, and it eventually falls to Ryan Sanchez. Sanchez averaging 15 points a game. That's second on the team for this squad, right behind DeBrito's 15.8. Robertson in the corner, not somewhere where he really likes to be. Tries to find Davis underneath. The ball just floats away from him and into the hands of Sanchez. Here's a three from the outside corner. That's Matthew Robinson, a freshman from Miami, and played his high school ball at Miami Western, where he's number 45 for the Conquistadors. Garrett trying to take things into his own hands, goes underneath KJ. Davis gets it blocked, and it's going to be a jump ball as Gabriel Casillas got up and swatted that attempt down, and the possession arrow favors Florida National. We see the first appearance for junior Derek Carter Hollinger, a transfer from Montana, a native of San Diego, California. He wears number 23. We'll be calling him DJ Carter Hollinger. Corner three, swish. And that is three three-point baskets that have gone early on for Florida National. That time, the bucket coming from Ryan Sanchez. 11-4, the Conquistadors lead. Harmon around a screen. What can he spark? The four-star. Marcus Garrett with 8 to shoot, pushes one up. He tried for the lob. It didn't hit the rim, so they've got 5 to shoot. French has got to put one up from way downtown, and it's off the rim, and it deflects out of play. And the Wildcats are being frustrated on the offensive end by this black and white wall that has been put in front of them by Florida National. In the corner, it's Matthew Robinson. Now DeBrito and Sanchez. Sanchez tries to get around the screen, goes baseline. The ball is deflected right to the hands of Casillas. 8 to shoot. Back to Robinson. He goes floater style and scores over Dylan Robinson. And it is 13-4. No love on the offensive end for the Wildcats thus far. Garrett again trying to do it all himself. Draws the contact and he'll go to the line. And what's super interesting about this Florida National team is that their numbers range from 20 to 55. The lowest number on the roster is Ryan Sanchez. Out he wears 20, and then of course you go all the way up to Jesus Rivas, the freshman setter. He wears number 55, and that's the biggest number you can wear in college basketball. Very interesting. You don't see, we see 1 through 5 usually, and then you see 10 through 15, and then 20 to 25 on a traditional college roster. As Garrett hits 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Sanchez against Harmon. Sanchez kicks, and a long 3 hits nothing but air from Casillas. Garrett trying to push the pace. Harmon racing to the net and gets clobbered by Casillas, but they say he got all ball. In transition, 3-on-1. Underneath the basket it goes, and a slam dunk for Nicholas Girondin. No, excuse me, that was Matthew Robinson. And a 10-point lead for the Conquistadors. And it's kind of a shocked atmosphere inside Moore Gymnasium right now. Harmon trying to fight through a screen, can't do it. French. And now Hollinger back to Harmon, who tries to go underneath and he gets clobbered and will go to the line. That time, Ronald Fernandez with the contact. Seven players on this Florida National roster from the city of Miami and the surrounding areas. Just 4 players that are not from Miami. That being Gerardi Cubillan from Venezuela, Gabriel Casillas from Puerto Rico, Manuel Wugol, who we will not see tonight, from South Sudan, Jonathan Mills from Dominica, and Nicolas Girondin from Paris, France. We'll take 30 seconds and be right back. It's 15-5. Conquistadors over the Wildcats. This is BCU basketball on the Countdown Network. It's a hot start for the Conquistadors of Florida National, especially Gabriel Casillas, as he has 8 points on 2 of 3 shooting from beyond the arc and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. It's a shocking 15-5 lead for the Conquistadors of Florida National over the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats here in the home opener for BCU. Zion Harmon is going to go to the free throw line. But you look at some of these numbers early. Joe French 0 for 4 from the field. Harmon 0 for 2. Davis and Colin Harlinger both 0 for as well, as Harmon makes his first point in Moore Gymnasium. It comes via the charity stripe. And you got to think how long before Coach Reggie Theus really changes up the lineup, and we've got a fresh face in there right now. He's on the ball. This is the 7-footer Elijah Halsey, the freshman from Orlando. And it's another jump ball, held ball, so the Wildcats will take possession. Halsey played high school basketball at Windermere Prep, and he was top 20 in the entire state, the high school level, for rebounds per game his senior year, averaged 9.9. He is a tall figure. Damani McIntyre, mid-range jumper, no. Halsey. A foul is committed. It'll go to Florida National. They're going to get Halsey with the foul. Halsey only had one other offer to play college basketball. That was from USC Aiken in Georgia. And he chose to come ball here in his home state. Sanchez had that pass poked away by McIntyre, the transfer from Southern Utah last year. Last season, 4.7 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, and just under 2 assists for McIntyre. Dancing in the corner is Robinson. The ball deflects out of bounds off McIntyre, and it remains with Florida National. 6 on the shot clock for the Conquistadors to work with. What can they draw up here? Almost a 5-second violation, but Casillas does receive the pass. Tries to step back on Carter. Hollinger can't do it, and it's a shot clock violation by the Conquistadors, and maybe that will give the Wildcats some boost on the defensive end as we see Jonathan Mills check in for the first time for Florida National. 6'8" center from Roseau, Dominica. He only played 3 games last year for the Conquistadors and averaged under a point per game. Harmon kicks to the corner, whistle and a stoppage of play. And they're going to call Harmon for an offensive foul No, they're going to call a blocking foul underneath, and it wasn't in the act of shooting, so the Wildcats will get a baseline in. Harmon floats it to the 7-foot-tall Holsway. Harmon, baseline drive into a triple team, tiptoes the out-of-bounds line and finds Joe French with 10 to shoot. French working through traffic, elbow jumper short, and he has just not found the range so far this season as Joe French. Averaging only 7 points per contest, a total of 14. And I say only because last year he averaged almost 16 points a game. Was a box-to-row second-team All-American. Sanchez, free throw line jumper, double bounce off the back iron, and is grabbed by Carter Hollinger. Harmon to Hollinger, underneath Hulsey, and his left hook is clean. And BCU finally breaks an over 2-minute scoring drought. Actually, it's been a 2 minutes and 37 seconds since either team had scored. Casillas in a double team, tipped away by DJ. And now an actual steal by McIntyre, but his toe hit the out-of-bounds line. And you can feel the tide starting to turn here in Moore Gymnasium. For a while, there was a bit of stunned silence as Florida National leapt out to that 10-point lead early, and as the Wildcats have started to chomp down on defense, they finally got a bucket on the offensive end. It is a packed house on one side of the auditorium. The side that you can see on the camera is actually absolutely full. There's a smattering of people on the side that we are on. But they can make some noise. This building, as we saw last year, can be very rowdy when the Wildcats are playing well. That's going to be 3 free throws for Gabriel Casillas, as Derek Carter Hollinger stepped into his space while he was trying to shoot. And if there's anything that takes the wind out of a home building, it is a 3 free throw attempt for the visiting team, and Casillas hits the first. Casillas played his first college season at Indiana Southeastern College, and also played for Arecibo Arava. I'm very sorry if I butchered that. In the 2022 Puerto Rican Summer League. So he saw action over the college offseason at a semi-professional level. Back to a 10-point deficit, 18-8 the lead, 8:48 to go in the first half. DJ looking for somebody to pass to, finds it in Garrett. McIntyre into the corner, Harmon dancing against Kubian. He shoots, it's in and out. And first to the ball is Casillas, running the floor, and a clean block on the back end. Kubian went up, and it was swatted away by the Wildcats, and BCU will retain possession anyway. Now some noise from the student section. But BCU's going to have to find something on the offensive end, shooting just 18% from the floor. And over half the first half gone. Zion Harmon steps around a defender, spins, cuts to the middle, passes it off, and a block on DJ. And a foul called after Carter Hollinger didn't have the ball. They're going to call it against Gabriel Casillas. That's Casillas' second foul. But the little bit of a flash of brilliance from Zion Harmon, not sure why he didn't just take that to the rack and try and score. But he is trying to be the consummate teammate, find his teammates, and set them up for success. 8:06 to go in the first half. BCU still down by 10, 18-8 the score. The Conquistadors from Florida National with the shocking lead early on. This is BCU basketball on the Cat Eye Network. Stay up to date with everything going on with Bethune-Cookman Athletics. Go to bcuathletics.com for schedules, stories, and all the latest information on Bethune-Cookman University sports. Bookmark it and tell your friends. That's www.bcuathletics.com. And in the huddle down below our commentary position, Reggie Theus is not happy with the boys in gold as they trail the Conquistadors of Florida National 18-8 and have shot just 17.6% from the floor. That's 3 of 17, if you were wondering. Harmon to the 7-foot-tall Hulsey. Harmon. Garrett pulls up. That'll be a long 2. It rims out, but it's tipped in on the back end by DJ Carter Hollinger. And the Wildcats need some momentum offensively. They hadn't scored a couple of minutes. They were only 1 for their last 9 before that shot went down. Here is DeBrito, the top scorer for Florida National on the season, although he has not scored yet today. It's been an 11-point contribution by Casillas. In the corner, a 3. Oh my goodness, it's off the window and good. That was Nicolas Girondin from Paris, France, with the ridiculous angle 3-pointer, and everything is falling for the Conquistadors right now. And on the flip side, there's a lid on the hoop for the BCU. Garrett goes up strong and gets the finger roll. Garrett leads BCU with 5 now. Behind the back pass to DeBrito. Girondin in the corner goes under the basket. And there's going to be a blocking foul called, and that might be the second on Hulsey, so we may see him leave the game in short order, the freshman. But he gives a thumbs up to his coach and will stay in the ball game. Dylan Robertson set the check back in. He will replace Hulsey, so I was correct in my assumption that with 2 fouls, Elijah would be coming out of the game. Sanchez in the corner, gets Garrett in the air, drives past him, but can't get by Robertson. He's going to have to settle for a 3. Oh, my goodness. I say settle for a 3. But Florida National is 5 of 8 from beyond the arc, 62%. Harmon against Sanchez. Sends Sanchez for a biscuit and drives and fights it in. Zion Harmon off the mark with a nasty move to get free. I expect to see a lot of Zion Harmon iso ball this year for the Wildcats if he gets hot. Almost a strip by McIntyre. DeBrito maintains control, and now Sanchez spins away from Harmon. Girondin underneath. Here is Kubayan. Wide open is DeBrito. That time it rims out right at the shot clock. McIntyre behind the back. Hands off Robinson. At the cup. Gets it to go. And the Wildcats are roaring back to life. They've scored on 2 straight possessions for the first time in this game, and they've hit 4 of their last 5 from the field. DeBrito around a screen, slips under and throws it back to Robinson. DeBrito whistle and a foul, no basket. Foul will be called on the floor. They're going to get, I believe, DJ Carter Hollinger. And they will get Hollinger. He says, "That's on me?" Question mark. Yes, DJ, that is on you. Long pass out to find Matthew Robinson. Excuse me, that is Nicolas Girondin. DeBrito to Sanchez. Strong drive to the rim, and it's rejected by Dylan Robertson. In transition, Harmon for three. It's good! And that's the more gymnasium roar that I love so much. It's back for 2022-23. Wide open in the corner for three, and it's good. That was Matthew Robinson that quiets the building a little bit. And it's 27-19. And as much as the BCU offense has picked it up over the last couple of minutes, they had a 7-0 run before that last three went down. They're still down 27-19. So a lot more to come on the offensive end for the Wildcats, so they're going to get back in this game. Crucially, Joe French, their talisman and top scorer from last year, is not on the floor. Here's a three. It's good from Damani McIntyre. It's raining threes in Daytona Beach from both sides of the floor. And it's back to a 5-point game with 3:30 to go in the first half. Tough finish underneath, can't get it done for Robinson. McIntyre runs the floor. One-on-one with DeBrito. Spin cycle, tries to get it to Robinson, but off his chin, and he couldn't corral it. This is turning into some matchup early on in the first half, and you know Reggie Theus and his coaching staff are not going to have a lot of good to say in the locker room, but there's a turnover. In transition, McIntyre hands it off to Garrett, and he just finds the soft finger roll lay-in. Back to a three-point game. BCU has made 7 of their last 8 shots from the floor. All of a sudden, the offense that couldn't buy a bucket in the first 10 minutes has roared to life. Sanchez knifing through, kick out for three. Front iron, back iron, and no. And it is Florida National ball as it lands on the baseline. Timeout, Bethune-Cookman, as we hit the under 3. Oh boy. Second to catch our breath. BCU fighting their way back into this one with a barrage of three-pointers. They're down just 3 points. 27-24 with 2:24 to go in the first half. We'll step aside. The conclusion of half number 1 is on the other end of this break. This is Bethune-Cookman basketball on the Cat Eye Network. Stay tuned. The annual Florida Classic is this Saturday, and tickets are on sale now. Don't miss out on the biggest HBCU football game in the country. Head on over to Ticketmaster.com to secure your tickets today. For more information, stay tuned to FloridaClassic.org and BCUathletics.com. 27-24, the lead is just 3 for Florida National. At one point, it was 10. 15-5, the Conquistadors led, but the Wildcats have battled back. And if I told you before the game that with 2:24 left to go in the first half, that there would be 2 players for VCU that had played but not scored, I think 2 of the last names on your list would be Joe French and Kevin Davis, and yet those are the 2 players that have played and not scored. Kevin Davis is back on the floor for the Wildcats. Joe French remains on the bench. Tip pass, it's rolling near the out-of-bounds line, collected by Sanchez. Here comes Kubian, kick out to Brito, a 3, front iron no good, and Robinson grabs the miss. Marcus Garrett hands to Zion Harmon. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Wildcats looking to tire, take the lead. Underneath, Robinson just bullies his way to the basket and hooks it in. 1 point game, 27-26. Sanchez behind the back to Robinson. This is Matthew Robinson. Now DeBrito almost looked like he wanted to fire that one from three. Thinks better of it. Tries to go with a baseline or a drive to the hoop and travels before he can get the shot off. Florida National scoreless in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a 14-3 run over that span of time for Bethune-Cookman. Davis looked like he wanted to spot up for three, the big man. Theus clapping for his team to get moving, and a foul off the ball. Now, is that going to be a moving screen or a defensive foul? No, it's going to be a grab on Gerardi Cubillan. Cubillan, the native of Maracaibo, Venezuela, and previously played for Miami-Dade College and James Madison High School in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Also, Grayson Community College, so he's only a sophomore, so he's already played at 3 different schools. And immediately another foul for a grab on Florida National. Bethune-Cookman almost in the bonus. Actually, both teams almost in the bonus, as the Conquistadors and the Wildcats have both committed 6 fouls. Davis against Robinson. Zion Harmon, who did not start but has played the majority of this first half. 15 minutes of action for him, only bested by Marcus Garrett's 16. Harmon behind the back. Gets it stripped, the ball comes off a foot. It comes off Harmon's foot, and it'll be a kick ball. An obviously not happy former NBA veteran. 19,000 points and 6,000 assists in 13 NBA seasons for Reggie Theus in his second season at the helm here at Bethune-Cookman. They went 9-21 last year to the Wildcats, but only barely missed out on a conference tournament appearance. Falling at the last hurdle, they had a win and get in chance against FAMU at the end of the season and just could not win that last game. Sanchez strong to the rim and gets that floater to go. 35 seconds to go now. 3-point lead for Florida National. What a coup this would be for the Conquistadors if they could take a lead into the break. Garrett to the rim, can't get it to go. The iron is not kind to Bethune-Cookman in this first half. 17 seconds to go. If the Conquistadors want, they can make this the final possession of the first half. Five on the shot clock. Sanchez drives past Garrett. Underneath, kick out to Brito. One more kick, Casillas. Long three. He's fouled. He's fouled as he let the shot go, and he'll go to the line to shoot 3 free throws for the second time in this first half. And I think this might be review to see if he was fouled before the end of the shot clock. Watching it in real time, it looked like he was fouled before the end of the shot clock, which will give Florida National free throws. As a team this season, Bethune-Cookman averaging 53.5 points per game as opposed to 95 of their opponents. But again, you got to remember that they've played Iowa and Indiana in those 2 games. And I don't have a monitor to see what the referees are looking at right now, so I can only replay it in my mind. And in my mind's eye, I definitely see contact before the whistle. So we could be seeing a potentially 6-point Florida National lead at the break, as the Wildcats have been on the receiving end of a pretty big punch to the gut. And they are going to shoot free throws. as head coach Marcus Molina for Florida National is trying to get his team back on the floor. He's like, hey, they put a half second left. You can't go to the locker room yet. Molina, mostly a high school coach throughout his career. This is his first stint at the college level. And Gabriel Casillas, who leads all scorers with 11 points, is going to get a chance for 3 more before the break. And I don't know what the holdup is. It does not look like the Conquistadors are going to contest a potential rebound situation. Oh, they were trying to decide how much time to put back on the clock, and 0.5 seconds it is. I love it. Casillas' teammates aren't there in the paint, so he just high-fived nobody, and he's going to do it again. Watch. But he's made his first 2 shots. And not to put too fine a point on it, but there's a lot of work to do in the second half for Bethune-Cookman as they trail the Conquistadors of Florida National University 32-26 at the break. The NAIA school from Hialeah Gardens is ahead at Moore Gymnasium as the Wildcats only shoot 42% from the field in the first half. Not much better for Florida National. They shoot 40.9%, but crucially 50% from three-point range for the Conquistadors and 100%, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Only 2 of 7 from three-point range for Bethune-Cookman and 2 of 4 from the charity stripe for the Wildcats. Here are your full scoring rundown for Bethune-Cookman. Marcus Garrett has 7, Robertson has 6, Sion Harmon has 6, Devontae McIntyre has 3, Carter Hollinger has 2, and Halsey has 2. For Bethune-Cookman, Casillas leads all scorers with 14, Sanchez has 8, Robinson has 7, and Gerondin has 3. Nobody else for Florida National has scored. Kevin Davis and Joe French both scoreless at the break. We will take that about 13.5-minute break for halftime. Enjoy the halftime festivities here at Moore Gymnasium. When we come back, it's the second half between the Florida National Conquistadors and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Once again, your final score your score at halftime, 32-26 in favor of the visitors from South Florida. Welcome back inside Moore Gymnasium on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University. Second half basketball action about to begin between the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and the Florida National University Conquistadors. And it's been a bit of a subdued atmosphere inside Moore Gymnasium tonight as the women's team fell to Florida Atlantic after a fourth quarter surge by the Owls, and the Conquistadors have upset on the brain as they lead, 32-26 as we get set to begin this second half. Mostly on the back of Gabriel Casillas' 14 points and 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. He has been willing this team forward on a wing and a prayer. Their top scorer, Jovan De Brito, who averages 15.8 points, is not scored yet tonight, and it could be very dangerous for the Wildcats if he finds his sea legs early in the second half. What does Bethune-Cookman need to do to get back into this game? Well, it's got to be shot selection. Bethune-Cookman was because they were behind, they were forcing tough shots in the paint. They were trying to ram things through. They were trying to get people hot from deep. Zion Harmon hit a couple of big shots late to keep the Wildcats kind of close. But I think you got to be patient on offense. You got to work inside out more. Joe French still doesn't have a bucket tonight. He's 0 for 5. You just got to get him hot and ride the offensive wave of Marcus Garrett and potentially Joe French, because trying to force the ball inside, even though you've got Dylan Robertson at 6'10", and Elijah Hulsey at 7 feet, it just hasn't been working, as the Conquistadors, I believe, will start with the basketball. And I'll tell you what, I would not have wanted to be a fly on the wall in the Bethune-Cookman locker room over the last 13 or so minutes, as Reggie Theus was not happy, and very animatedly so, on the sidelines toward the end of that first half. You can only imagine what it was like in the locker room away from prying eyes. Florida National in the all-black trimmed in white will get us underway in the second half. Wildcats in the golds and maroon with white numbers and white trim. Ryan Sanchez gets us started for Florida National. I also want to see more of the depth come in for BCU. We've only seen 8 players hit the floor for Cookman so far tonight. Sanchez goes behind the back, underneath against Robinson, and D-Rob wins the battle and deflects the ball off of Sanchez and out of play, to the consternation of head coach Marcus Molina. But again, only 8 players have played tonight for Bethune-Cookman. We still haven't seen the likes of Lucas Gudavicius. We haven't seen Kawan. We haven't seen Deshaun Dyson or Simeon Womack or Trayvon Barbary or James Henderson Jr., even though he is being played limited minutes tonight. We could see him potentially, but I want to see some of those depth players get in, and maybe they can strike a match and light the fire for a Bethune-Cookman comeback. Remember, they are only down 6. It's not the end of the world, and we've seen this BCU team go on a nice run in the first half to close the gap that was originally 10. 3 to shoot. Harmon drives, floater in the lane, good. At times, it looks like Zion Harmon looks to do it all himself, and when that comes off, as lookout, off the glass, no good. Rebound, Kubion. Florida National continues their offense in the corner for Robinson. When Zion Harmon gets those acrobatic finishes and starts hitting from 3, man, this place erupts as the ball goes off the hands of Matthew Robinson and out of bounds. And there's a big old clap of anger from Marcus Molina. And again, this is Molina's first ever coaching gig at the college level. He's had positions at Coral Gables, Miami Palmetto, Miami Christian, and Hialeah Gardens high schools, but has done well with this Florida National squad. They're 1-4 on the season and 0-1 already in conference play. Marcus Garrett with a little bit of space, drives the lane, bucket on the foul. Marcus Garrett's been the spark offensively the first 2 games of the season up in the Midwest, and he brings some of that competitive fire here to Moore Gymnasium as he got a little bit of space and just hurtled to the basket. Averaging 11 points per game, 11.5 points per game, in fact. And he is back to the top of the scoring tables for Bethune-Cookman with 9, Harmon with 8, nobody else with more than 6. But we shall see how long it takes before Coach Theus and his staff decide to make some changes. And Florida National is going to call timeout as their lead has dwindled to just 1. Quick timeout here from Moore Gymnasium. We'll take 30 seconds and be right back. This is BCU Athletics on the Cat Eye Network. The Wildcats have scored the first 5 points of this second half as they trail the Florida National Conquistadors by just 1 now. It's 32-31. And very animated again in the huddle is Reggie Theus, but I think he was just talking X's and O's to try to unlock this Florida National defense that was so stingy for the majority of the first half. Bad inbounds pass goes straight to Marcus Garrett. Harmon in the corner thought about a 3, but didn't take it. Hands off McIntyre. Back to Harmon. Now he's got space for a 3, and it's off the front of the iron and no good. Sanchez off the miss. We'll slow it down. I think Florida National will want to play at a snail's pace for the rest of this game if it remains close. Casillas has been the top scorer of the night. He's got 14 points. He dances, he fires from 3. That would have been the bucket of the night, but it's too strong. And a rifle pass by Dylan Robertson is too far in front of Marcus Garrett, and he immediately taps his chest and says, "My bad." But he got a thumbs up from the bench for looking to push the pace. So you can tell where the heads of the Bethune-Cookman coaching staff are. They want to run the floor, get out in transition, and not be jammed up underneath the basket by this stringy defense. Sanchez looks left, kicks to the corner, 3 on the way, front iron no good. So lid on the basket a little bit for Florida National early on. That was Matthew Robinson missing that last bucket. Harmon draws a double team, gets to the paint, behind his head to Robinson, who finishes behind his head. It's a no-look pass to a no-look finish. That was a thing of beauty. But quickly into the front court, Casillas tried to catch the Wildcats defense napping, but BCU gets back well to prevent the shot. Sanchez against the much taller Robinson, nowhere to go, and finds DeBrizzo, who still has not scored yet this evening. BCU with their first lead of the night, 33-32. Mid-range jumper splash from the baseline for Gerardi Cubillan, the native of Maracaibo, Venezuela. Hasn't averaged over 3 points in a season his entire college career, has Cubillan. McIntyre, mid-range jump shot, nothing but twine. Now the Wildcats are shooting well. They try to prevent Florida National from getting into the front court. The Conquistadors will set up. Almost 5 minutes gone by already in this second half. DeBrito fights off the arm checks from McIntyre and gets it to Robinson. And now Sanchez. Nowhere to go for Kubian, so we just drive straight to the basket, draws the contact, and we'll go to the free throw line. They're going to call the foul on Dylan Robertson. That is the problem of being the main center for your team, is you get targeted a lot with those fouls, and we're going to be having a full timeout here for the media timeout. They're going to go with the under 16. So we'll take a timeout as well. Kind of a choppy start to the second half, but Bethune-Cookman has had the lead but is now trailing 36-35. They are in the midst of a 9-2 run, however. Can the Wildcats sustain this momentum? We'll find out on the other end. This is Bethune-Cookman basketball on the Cat Eye Network. Wildcat Nation, you can catch all BCU home games live on the Cat Eye Network. Be sure to tune in for all the best BCU volleyball, basketball, and more throughout the season. You can catch it all live on youtube.com/Cat Eye Network. This is the second of 25 home basketball games coming your way this season on the Cat Eye Network. We could not be more happy to bring you another season of BCU hoops. Right now, it is a 1-point lead for Florida National University. They hold a 36-35 advantage over Bethune-Cookman. And at the line to shoot free throws is Gerardi Kubian. He's 3 for 9 from the free throw line this season. Shooting 33% from the stripe. And now he's 3 for 10. Lineup remains the same for Bethune-Cookman. No changes, as they'll stay with the big lineup with, they have taken KJ Davis out for DJ Carter-Hollinger. That's the one change. Again, Joe French remains on the sidelines and a turnover as Casillas grabs a loose ball. The scoreboard has been corrected to say 35-35. In a tie ball game, DeBrito takes a three, rattles out. Garrett looking to push the pace. Stripped from behind by Casillas, and Bethune-Cookman will maintain possession. BCU barely missed out on the SWAC tournament in 2022. It is the first team not selected. They finished 9th, and the top 8 teams make the tournament. All college basketball teams are allowed to participate in one multi-team event. Of course, we've got one coming up next week at the Ocean Center here in Daytona Beach, the Sunshine Slam, as Damani McIntyre fires true from the elbow, featuring South Florida and Georgia, among others. But Bethune-Cookman is going up to Conway, Arkansas. Oh, look out! It's a Robinson rejection as he got up and took it away at the rim. Harmon gets his defender in the air. Underneath he goes, and it's in off the rim. Defense leads to offense, leads to more gymnasium on its feet. And a foul called. It looks like it's going to be on Damani McIntyre as they tried to prevent Sanchez from getting into the front court. I mentioned MTEs, so BCU will be going up to Conway, Arkansas for the multi-team event hosted by Central Arkansas. They'll play Idaho State on the 26th of November, and then the 27th against Northwestern State. Of course, last year they played in the Sunshine Slam at the Ocean Center here in Daytona Beach. Finished second in their bracket, fell to Air Force in the finals, but beat Bryant in the semis. Kick out three, Casillas off the mark in the second half. He's up to a game-high 17 points. And now for the first time all half, the Wildcats slow it down. Up one, 39-38. Garrett in the corner. He gets to the basket. Tough finish. Robinson there to clean up the mess. Second chance, no. Whistle and a foul. I love how Dylan Robertson attacks offensive rebounds like there's no tomorrow. He just throws himself at the rim. He had two chances for a putback. Neither of them went, but he stayed resilient. And on the third opportunity, he got fouled and he'll head to the line. Robertson has not had a trip to the free throw line before now tonight. On the season, he's 1 for 1 from the free throw line. Robertson, originally a transfer from Sam Houston State, and before that, Shelton State and Wingate. So he's been through the ringer. This is his 5th year of competition, as being granted an extra COVID year, as did everybody playing college basketball at that time. And he spent his last 2 right here, and am I and the rest of the basketball-loving public at Bethune-Cookman University glad that he decided to stay. Joe French has checked back in for the first time in what seems like forever. He's only played 12 minutes tonight. That's 3rd lowest on the team behind Kevin Davis and Hulsey. So can the SWAC preseason offensive player of the year get something going here on his home floor? He's 0 for 5 from the floor, 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. All 5 of those attempts coming in the first 10 minutes of the ball game. DeBrito wide open for 3 from straight on, and he got it. And this game keeps seesawing back and forth as Florida National takes the lead once again, 41-39. And in BCU's minds today, they would have been going through school and going through warm-ups thinking, oh, they're going to come out here and they're just going to put this team away. They're an NAIA school. You can't overlook anybody. There is talent everywhere that falls through the cracks and doesn't make it to the top level. Garrett, screen and 3, yes. Marcus Garrett responds to Casillas' 3 with a triple of his own. And BCU back on top, 42-41. Quickly into the front court, breaking the full court press. Sanchez. Robinson comes all the way up top to guard Sanchez, leaving the paint open. DeBrito says, I'll just take another 3. DeBrito had not scored before the last Florida National possession, and now he's got 6 points. How quickly things can change. Robertson underneath, rifles it to French in the corner, gets DeBrito in the air, corner 3, oh, there's the Joe French we know and love. Off balance 3 from basically behind the backboard, and he gets it to go. Tie game, 44-44. DeBrito, a floater, rolls off the front of the rim, no good. Will they push the pace? Joe French really wanted that ball in the corner, but he didn't get it, and Harmon will run the offense. Harmon. DJ wide open for 3, no. That's a rare 3-point attempt from the 6'6" DJ Carter Hollinger. DeBrito in transition, no. It's becoming a 3-point contest here at Moore Gymnasium. Sanchez gets the ball underneath, whistle and a foul. And I think they're gonna get Robinson with it. That's only Robertson's second foul, and remember last year he was basically the only 5 the Wildcats had, so he was in foul trouble a lot. Now with better big man rotation for BCU as Kevin Davis gets set to check in after the timeout. And it looks like Elijah Holsey is getting ready to come back in as well. We'll take 30 seconds and be right back. This is BCU Athletics on the Cat Eye Network. Welcome back to more Gymnasium. Well, Bethune-Cookman needed a difference offensively. They needed to make a change after being down at halftime to Florida National. The change was speed. They went up-tempo on offense. They pushed the pace after steals and after turnovers. And they got to the rim more effectively that way, and that opened up the outside shooting. It all starts from the painted area. In the first half, 42% from the field. In the second half so far, 61% from the field for Bethune-Cookman, although Florida National is still out shooting the Wildcats on three-point shots. 3 of 6 in the second half for threes for the game, 1 for 3 for Bethune-Cookman in the entire game. 9 of 18 from deep for Florida National, that's 50%. Bethune-Cookman 30%, 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. But we do have a tie game, 44-44, and it looks like there's a bit of a confusion down on the bench what the score actually is, because the scoreboard changed to 46-44 in favor of Florida National at one point. Now it's back to 44-44. There was a time before that last timeout was called where the live stats that I have in front of me and the scoreboard in the gym didn't match. So we got a thumbs up from the scoring official at the table. So it looks like we are good to go. And my biggest hope from this game, besides the fact that I hope BCU ends up winning it, is that I hope that somebody sees and scouts Gabriel Casillas at a higher level than he is currently playing, because the sophomore guard forward from San Juan has put on an absolute clinic this evening. 17 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 3 of 5 from deep, 8 of 8 from the charity stripe. The closest man to him is Marcus Garrett, who has 13 points. Sanchez hits both from the free throw line. And it's a 2-point advantage for Florida National. Joe French, open for three. He's already hit one, and now he's got two. The sharpshooter is back in the building. You could keep him quiet all night if you want to, but Joe French is inevitable when he finds that shooting stroke. BCU with a 1-point lead. 10.5 to go. Sanchez off a screen. Tries to get around Robinson. He does. Off the top of the glass and in. Nice finish by Sanchez. And it looked like Coach Molina for Florida National wanted a and one opportunity for his point guard there. Davis back in the game. He still hasn't scored. French has, though. ISO ball for French. Back to Garrett. Drives past the double team. Gets his defender in the air. Off the glass and in. Nice move by Garrett, and now it's Reggie Theus who wants an and one. Neither coach going to get it, though. BCU maintains their 1-point advantage. Up to 15 points now for Garrett. He has surpassed his season high. Kubian kicks it out for Robinson. Robinson against his opposite name in Dylan Robinson, and KJ Davis gets the strip. Garrett found no pass, and he just says, I'll do it myself, but doesn't get the roll off the front of the rim. Sanchez behind the back keeps his dribble as he went through the teeth of the defense. Sanchez against Harmon. Little screen and fire from the baseline, and a jumper is good for Kubian. 50-49. This game has been a 1-point back-and-forth seesaw battle for the past couple of minutes. But I'm pretty sure that Bethune-Cookman will break their previous season high of 58 points tonight. Zion Harmon off a pick and roll. Beautiful to the hoop, and he lays it in. Talk about Joe French being electric. Zion Harmon is the definition of energy on the floor. He exudes energy. He gets his teammates involved, which is what you want from a star player. Sanchez, three off the mark to the left. Offensive rebound, Robinson, and he's stripped of the ball by Marcus Garrett, by Zion Harmon, and Harmon goes behind the back and gets the foul. The one thing I love about Zion Harmon as Robertson heads to the bench, and I think Elijah Hulsey is going to come back in. No, it's going to be Carter Hollinger, is that he's got handles. Last year with this Bethune-Cookman roster, we didn't really have a player that could take players on, create mismatches by himself with his dribbling ability. Zion Harmon is that matchup nightmare that you don't want to face on the open floor. A couple of changes for BCU. I mentioned Carter Hollinger came in. Also, Jamani McIntyre back in the game, and Kevin Davis gets a shot blocked by Matthew Robinson. And Elijah Hulsey, I've been saying his name a couple of times, anticipating the 7-foot freshman to come back in, and he is now at the scorer's table. As we have a smallish lineup right now with Davis at the 5, and a swish fadeaway from Casillas. Puts the visitors back on top. 7:45 to go in the game. Hand off to French, and then a ball screen for McIntyre. Harmon dribbles. Fadeaway jumper. Oh, it hung on the rim for what seemed like an eternity and rattled out. But something I've noticed that the whole time that Harmon was dancing, Kevin Davis was calling for the ball at the elbow. Would that have been the better play? I don't know. Oh, look at the swat from Carter Hollinger. Davis loses the handle, and it's Florida National ball. We have reached the media timeout for under 7 minutes. 7:01 to go. Florida National still with upsets on their minds. They lead 52-51. We'll be back in 60 seconds. This is Bethune-Cookman basketball on the Cat Eye Network. A back-and-forth battle at Moore Gymnasium tonight between the Florida National Conquistadors and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Right now it's Florida National 52, Bethune-Cookman 51. Marcus Garrett and Gabriel Casillas basically going head-to-head in the scoring department. Casillas 19, Garrett 15 to lead their respective squads, but I think the most important statistic as of right now is that BCU has been held scoreless the last minute and 34. And Florida National has hit 3 of their last 4 from three-point range. That's the difference in the game right now. Sanchez away on top, Robinson. Robinson off a screen from Kubian. Sanchez in front of his own bench, gets the ball stripped by Garrett. McIntyre chasing after. Does he keep it in play? Yes. McIntyre, extra pass. Carter Hollinger with the slam! Finally, some energy in the building. Now can they get a stop defensively? It's Robinson for the Conquistadors. Sanchez trying to get to the paint. He does. Holsway says no, thank you. And a spin move from Harmon to get away. Into the corner. French, catch and shoot 3. Oh, missed everything. But a long rebound comes out, and Harmon grabs it. Zion Harmon underneath, and a slam for Holsey. Back-to-back, big-time two-hand jams for Bethune-Cookman. They have their largest lead of the night. It's a 3-point Wildcat advantage. Timeout, Florida National. There's the energy that we've been missing all game from Bethune-Cookman. Oh my goodness. Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. And for the latest on BCU men's basketball, follow at BCU Hoops on Twitter and Instagram. Well, the energy in Moore Gymnasium just went up a couple of notches. 2 big-time slam dunks. One from Elijah Holsey, one from Derek Carter Hollinger, have given the Wildcats their largest lead of the night, 55-52, and that may not seem like a lot, but the Wildcats have been behind their opposition from Hialeah Gardens for most of the evening. The Wildcats will keep their same 5 on the floor: Carter Hollinger, Holsey, Garrett, French, and McIntyre. And Marcus Garrett has done a yeoman stint tonight, 28 minutes. Only Zion Harmon has more. He's played 30 minutes of ball this evening. DeBrito. He had a stint early on in the second half where he got hot from beyond the arc, but he hasn't had anything since. Kubian stripped by Holsey, and it is Florida National ball. And maybe Reggie Theus is asking for them to review that to see if it's Wildcat ball, or maybe he's just trying to call a defensive play. He's very animated on the sideline. Quick three from Casillas. No good. And the rebound ripped down by McIntyre. Excuse me, that's Garrett. Garrett almost. That pass didn't get to McIntyre. He got it by the fingertips. Garrett now gets it back. Underneath, Holsey, hook and ladder. Yes, sir! Oh, I'm liking the look of this freshman, the 7-footer out of Orlando, Elijah Holsey. Sanchez dances underneath. The pass was too hot to handle for Ronald Fernandez, who has not seen much of the floor tonight. I believe Florida National called timeout to save some grace and a potential turnover. And it's a full timeout, 60 seconds, so we'll take a break. BCU trying to put this one away with 4:49 left. They lead at 57-52. This is BCU Athletics on the Cat Eye Network. Coming up next for Bethune-Cookman, they'll be back home on a Wednesday. That's 2 days from now to take on Trinity Baptist College. That's an 8 p.m. tip-off that you can see right here on the Cat Eye Network. For Florida National, they still have one more game to play on this mammoth road run to start the season of 7 straight road games to start the year. They play at Palm Beach Atlantic in 2 days' time. And then finally on the 19th of November, they get a home game against the University of Fort Lauderdale. Funnily enough, Bethune-Cookman was supposed to face the University of Fort Lauderdale here at Moore Gymnasium last year, but did not. As that ball is batted around, it almost found the arms of Holsey. Sanchez fires a three, long rebound off a foot. Sanchez gets it back. A wild possession for the Conquistadors. Casillas trying to break the 20-point barrier. Sanchez dances against Garrett. And now DeBrito with a long 2 attempt. No good. Offensive rebound comes to Sanchez. Dances past French. He tries a 3. It's short. And McIntyre grabs the board. 4:12 to go. And a 5-point lead for the Wildcats. No Zion Harmon on the floor at the moment. French catch and shoot 3, missed everything. Oh, and the rebound is taken by Carter Hollinger. Then he is ripped to the ground by Sanchez, and a foul goes against him. Nobody really in foul trouble tonight. Only 2 players have 3, one each side. McIntyre has 3 for Bethune-Cookman, and Casillas has 3 for Florida National. We'll keep it right here during the quick timeout. After Trinity Baptist on Wednesday, it's a quick 3-game road trip for Bethune-Cookman over the Thanksgiving holiday, as they will play at Charleston Southern on the 21st, and then the 26th and 27th in Conway, Arkansas, at the Arkansas State multi-team event. Well, they'll play Idaho State and Northwestern State. Then they'll return home for their third of 4 home non-conference games, the 1st of December against Chicago State. Then they'll go at North Florida, at Incarnate Word, at Texas San Antonio, and then finish their home non-conference slate the 22nd with the back end of a home-and-home set against North Florida. You will not want to miss that game as the UNF Ospreys invade Moore Gymnasium. And then they'll finish non-conference play the 29th of December at Illinois. That's the schedule coming up for Bethune-Cookman. And again, 3 more non-conference games here at Moore Gymnasium. Trinity Baptist on the 16th, Chicago State on the 1st, North Florida on the 22nd. Florida National has already played a conference game. They're 0-1. They lost to Florida College 107-61 back on the 4th of this month. Their conference is the NAIA's Continental Athletic Conference, which teams in 10 states and in 2 different countries, including the University of Victoria from Canada and the University of the Virgin Islands. So most of their conference games are at neutral sites, and that's the 4th foul on Gabriel Casillas now. So dangerous position to be in for the top scorer of the game, wearing 5-0. Wildcats will get an extra possession here, up 5. 3:52 to go. Just need a few more points to see off a hard-nosed fight from the Florida National Conquistadors this evening. Zion Harmon back on the floor after some time on the bench. He dribbles between his legs and then cuts it to go. I'm running out of superlatives for this kid, and it's the first game of the season. 59-52, BCU on top. Dylan Robertson gets set to check back in. DeBrito, catch and shoot 3 from the right-hand wing. No good. Halsey brings it down. Harmon runs the floor, and Reggie Theus asks for calm and take a little bit of time. If I were Bethune-Cookman, I'd try and draw something up to go right at number 50, but Zion Harmon has other ideas. He's just going to hit a contested 3 from 5 feet beyond the arc. 62-52, 10-point lead for Bethune-Cookman. Sanchez splits Halsey, then gets clattered to the ground by Carter Hollinger, and DJ knows that he was in the wrong there as he goes to check on the fallen conquistador. Dylan Robertson checks back in, replacing Halsey. And, man, I've got a lot of good things to say about Elijah Halsey. Played his high school ball at Windermere Prep just west of Orlando. Averaged 12 points and almost 10 rebounds his entire career, all 4 years playing varsity ball. Ended up being top 20 in the state in rebounds per game his senior year, and went pretty far in the 3A quarterfinals his junior year. But he only had 2 offers to play college basketball, one from Bethune-Cookman and one from Division II USC Aiken in Georgia, or in South Carolina, excuse me. So you got to think it's kind of a coup for Reggie Theus and his staff to get Elijah Halsey. A couple players we haven't seen tonight that I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get a look at. Lucas Gudavicius from Vilnius, Lithuania, who Reggie Theus compares in his own words to Magic Johnson, being a 6'9", 6'10" point guard, has played semi-professional ball in the Lithuanian NKL the last 2 years, and prepped at Avon Old Farms in Connecticut, a private boarding school. And he's played a couple of minutes this year, has Gudavicius. Casillas spins in the lane, and it's going to be a foul against Carter Hollinger. No, it's going to say he traveled. So I didn't think he took an extra step, but obviously the referees are closer to the action than me and have the whistles. So their word stands. It's still a 10-point BCU lead. I don't know why the Wildcats are trying to preserve clock. They're up by 10. Tight man defense now coming from the Conquistadors as they try to force a turnover. French and Garrett playing a little 1-2 ball out high. Harmon one-on-one against Robinson. Backs him down, kicks to French. 6 to shoot. Garrett in the corner trying to go by to Brito. He does, and then gets hammered by Casillas, and that's the end for Gabriel Casillas. That's his 5th foul. That's if they call it on him. De Brito was also in the area. So at the line is Marcus Garrett. And his first one is off the front iron and in. From the line tonight, Bethune-Cookman hasn't really been there all that much. Only 4 of 8's 50%. And I guess they didn't call that foul on Casillas. They called it on De Brito. So Gabriel remains in the game, still on 19 points, looking for 20. Zion Harmon up to 17 points. Marcus Garrett with 16 to lead the Wildcats. 2 minutes exactly to go. Casillas, step back. That'll be a long 2, and it's good. And Gabriel Casillas is up to 21 points on the night. Still a 10-point lead for BCU. And the Wildcats will take all the time on these possessions to try and run the clock down. Harmon kicks to the corner. Carter Hollinger, corner 3. It's good! DJ Carter Hollinger. That's his first 3-pointer of the season. 13 points the gap. Robinson. In the corner, Casillas working against Carter Hollinger. Baseline J, no good. Robinson skies the highest to grab the board, and the noise level in Moore Gymnasium rises a couple notches. Timeout. Timeout Bethune-Cookman. 1:01 to go. Wildcat fans, Bethune-Cookman men's basketball returns to Moore Gymnasium this Wednesday, November 16th at 8 p.m. as they take on Trinity Baptist College. Come on out and support your Wildcats. Are capped it live on the Cat Eye Network. We'll be live about 5 minutes before that, so 7:55. Bookmark it, Cat Eye Network. I'll be on the air for you, bringing you that contest on Wednesday. The most interesting story out of the Florida National Camp tonight, it surrounds their junior forward, Mariel Wugol, who is a scratch this evening and did not play. He is originally from South Sudan, but grew up in Australia. Played junior college ball in Australia with Thomas Carr College and won an Australian collegiate title. Then his first year of eligibility in the States, he played at ASA College Miami. Then to Iowa, he played at Southwestern Community College. The story goes that his parents left South Sudan when he was very young to escape a difficult situation and moved to Australia. And there are some very good Sudanese basketball players. He is the cousin of professional players Makur Maker and Thon Maker. And he originally started out playing Australian rules football and boxing. He didn't start playing basketball until he was 16, and here he is playing college ball in the States. And that's unfortunately Mariel Wugol injured and not playing tonight. 52 seconds to go. And a foul called against Matthew Robinson of Florida National. Matthew Robinson's been on the floor for 39 minutes tonight, as has De Brito and Sanchez. They've played the entire game, and the last couple of minutes you can really see it just kind of take their toll on these guys that have been in for so long and just ran out of gas against the Wildcats. But a Herculean effort from Florida National, especially since they just played 3 days ago against Florida International down in Miami. 50 seconds to go, 69-54, and it looks like BCU is going to escape with a win here, but not before wiping an almighty drench of sweat from their brow, because they had to sweat this one out for the majority of the game. Casillas, step back three. Oh, he drains another one. Somebody sign this man. Gabriel Casillas is putting in work. And Coach Diaz is not happy because he thought Casillas pushed off. Harmon dribbling through a triple team. And Coach Diaz calls a timeout, and he's going to go over there to talk to the official some more, thinking that Casillas, before he hit that last three, pushed off with his arm. But Florida National, a relatively newcomer to the college landscape. Their athletic programs only began play in 2013. And while the Conquistadors are only 1-4, they can definitely high roll their way to a win offensively. They beat Florida Memorial, which is their only win of the season, 8 days ago, 96-90, in a game in which they shot 50% from the floor and 9 for 17 from three. They've done better than that tonight. They've got 10 from 25 from three this evening. Out of the timeout with 19 seconds to go, all the Wildcats have to do is play keep away with the shot clock off. We'll see if Florida National fouls. They're going to try and trap Zion Harmon, and they're going to foul Zion Harmon. And so with the bonus in effect, Zion will go to the bench. That's the third foul on Ryan Sanchez. Sanchez played his high school ball at Mater Academy in Miami. Averaged 13.2 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 1.2 assists at the high school level, and got to the 6A state quarterfinal his junior year. Lost to Dillard, and in the senior year they went all the way to the finals and lost to Bartow. So twice the bridesmaid, never the bride in high school for Ryan Sanchez. But if you didn't know his name by now, Wildcat Nation, you certainly do after tonight. Zion Harmon, 18 points, 5 assists. DeBrito with a wild three, and we will cool our jets, cross the half-court stripe, and win the ball game 71-57. But the Florida National Conquistadors made the Wildcats earn it tonight. BCU was behind at the break. They were behind for a majority of the second half, and a late burst of offense spurred on by the dunking abilities of Carter Hollinger and Hulsey. French finally found a little bit of shooting. He ended up 2 for 9, but really it was Zion Harmon that was the spark for Bethune-Cookman. Marcus Garrett led the way with 21. In fact, let's go over the full rundown of point scores for both teams. First for Florida National, hats off and applause for Gabriel Casillas, who finished with 24 points, 6 of 11 shooting, 4 for 8 from beyond the arc, perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line in 30 minutes of action. Then there were 3 Florida National players who played the entire game. Ryan Sanchez finished with 12 points, Robinson was 7, and DeBrito was 6. Kubian had 5, Girondin had 3. Fernandez, Mills, and Rivas saw the floor but did not find the scorer's sheet. And for Bethune-Cookman, Marcus Garrett led the way with 21. Zion Harmon an impressive 17. Dylan Robertson had 8. McIntyre and Carter Hollinger each had 7. Hulsey had 6. Joe French continues his slow start to the season at just 5 points. And Kevin Davis played but did not score. That'll do it from us here on our perch at the top of Moore Gymnasium. Once again, your final score, BCU 71, Florida National 57. We're back on Wednesday with an 8 p.m. tip as the Wildcats battle the Trinity Baptist Eagles. We'll see you then for our entire crew